Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. The Commonwealth message that has been released by King Charles raises serious concerns to the UDA administration, and they seems to be making it very clear that things are getting out of hand. It is not, it is just the government is staying in denial that the crisis we are in is not going to end tomorrow, today, not even next week. The whole thing will actually de-escalate, will actually escalate. And Commonwealth is sending a message, King Charles is sending a direct message to William Ruto that State House team are just staying in denial. Appealing to Raila Odinga to explore dialogue to resolve the wrangle with William Ruto. They are now, they've reached out to William Ruto and saying, the Commonwealth is concerned about the ongoing escalation of violence, conflict and loss of life in Kenya, and calls on leaders and communities to engage in dialogue to resolve the challenges facing Kenya. They are saying, while the economic concerns are the root cause of the conflict, it is troubling that the protests have seen an increase in the use of hate speech, and we call on leaders of all sides of the political divide to de-escalate the situation. I say, dialogue is the best solution to the current situation. We strongly encourage all parties to engage now in constructive dialogue based upon Commonwealth values. Ladies and gentlemen, if William Ruto believes that there is any other way of resolving this problem apart from constructive dialogue, which according to me must be first centered on reversal or repeal of the Finance Act. And whichever way, if it can't be repealed through the dialogue, then I can tell you that even the courts are listening to the protest that is going on, are watching the protest going on in the country. And either way, the situation will be contained. I understand very clearly that William Ruto is having something called insecurity of tenure. And that is why any cause that is being advanced by the opposition, according to him, is only branded as a ploy to topple him from power or a ploy to win the hearts of the hustlers. But it is not going to be sustainable because it is very clear that the country is already bleeding. The three blunders that William Ruto is making, and I listened to Rigathi Gachagua speaking yesterday in Isiolo, calling out the international community that they are siding with the Azimio la Umoja. So the same government, you fight Azimio, you fight protesters, you fight international community, you fight media, you fight everyone. Why do you think that you have the monopoly of ideas? And they are saying, we cannot talk with Raila because Raila is a criminal. I think that one came from, that was a very unfortunate statement from Rigathi Gachagua. And there is a big blunder that Kenya Kwanza is making. And I want to take this time to explain that blunder. The three blunders. William Samoei Ruto, you are being misled that the way to restore peace is by police. This is the truth that those around power cannot tell you. What we are experiencing now is not an absence of peace. And if you want to know it's not an absence of peace, then look, after today, on Saturday, Kenyans will go back to their daily hustles. And when you go to town, you will not even imagine that the fellows you are seeing in town are the people that have been protesting for the last 3 days. You will not believe that town has regained back his breath 3 days after the protest. If the protest going on is something that should be addressed by deployment of the police, then I can tell you that you will not see even protest the other day. What is happening here is a political aggression towards cost of food. I've reduced it, I've changed it from cost of living to the cost of food. Because that is the problem, I can tell you, government will then be forced to float huge budgets on security operations throughout William Ruto's first term, because this is not going to end. Even if you will manage to spin and create corners and run propaganda with it, but it comes a time when reality will actually hit. As we speak, there are county governments that are yet to pay salaries. As we speak, teachers are demanding 60% salary increase. And as we speak, teachers in pension that are supposed to get their pension are asking for their pension, and it has not yet been given. As we speak, KBC is yet to pay some outstanding balances. And as we speak, there are counties that are yet to offset their pending bills. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are having now is a political aggression towards economic suppression that is going on. And if you will continue chest thumping that I am the person, and whenever there is a protest, my simple responsibility is to bungle police officers in the trucks and send them in the streets to wreak havoc and create fear, I am telling you, that will happen until the next general election. Because the political aggression is not going to end today. And what is now very clear, and that is what also William Ruto must also understand, that the Azimio la Umoja fellows that are leading the troops to the streets are also pursuing political interest. And their political interest is for them to come close to the voter. What do you expect? For them to come close to the voter. It is not going to be very easy. The other blunder is that when you make changes, when you listen to the voice of Raila Odinga, to what the Azimio team are saying around this protest, then you are interpreting it as giving Raila Odinga a win. Now, between making it like Azimio is getting their way through the protest and actually addressing the concerns so that things cool down, which one is easier? Because today, you can embrace the dialogue, but through that dialogue, Azimio la Umoja is going to hold their position that, yes, we are going to talk, but the starting point in talking is the cost of living. That is it. So whether you see it as a win on Raila's side or a loss on the other side, but what the Commonwealth and the international community are saying is that whichever way, you need to pursue a resolution. William Ruto, the politicians from Mount Kenya, and I'm very intentional about that statement, are feeling insecure that the political matrix is gonna change because their only script, a very tired, old and archaic script, is to use the name of Raila Odinga as a punching bag in the Mount Kenya region so that they can hold grip of the voters. And the head of state has technically gotten himself, is now being swayed into that school of thought and cannot even go or cannot think outside the box. I still believe this, that what Commonwealth is saying is not something out of order. That statement came hours after Kenya chapter of Amnesty International indicated that 30 people lost their lives through anti-government protest in 5 months. The director Irungu Hitton attributed the deaths to extrajudicial killings by the police. Preliminary investigations have revealed that police have used beatings, arbitrary arrests and detention of protesters, incriminate and disproportionate use of tear gas and water cannons and other serious rights violations to police the protests. They're saying we call upon the immediate stop of the violence and as we move to the next. Raila Odinga has said there is a misconstructed narrative here that has caged people to think outside the box, that when we sit down, we are only going to speak about a handshake or a power sharing. What is even there to be shared? And let's face it, if there is some sort of a dialogue and it ends on Raila becoming some prime minister somewhere or some position somewhere, then who is going to lose? Raila Odinga himself is going to be the loser because the people he's been fighting for will see him as a man that was fighting his own battle. If it's not going to benefit the people, then the loser is Raila Odinga. Even both with the Uhuru Kenya, with William Ruto, who will also be having a difficult task to go and explain to his people about a power sharing deal. It is not true and it is not fair to think about a solution of bringing peace as the only issue that is supposed to be on table. To William Ruto, this matter cannot be resolved by the bullet. This issue cannot be resolved by tear gas. And in fact, the need to de-escalate cannot be underestimated because the disruptions are dire. I have seen Moses Kuria saying that government survived COVID-19 and so what we are having now is something very small. I know that people are talking about how it's been de-escalated, how it is not affecting anything. But you cannot be right only. Not everyone else. It is not true that everyone else who will try to float in a discussion on this is wrong and being misconstructed as a handshake. Even without a handshake, Kenyans still deserve a solution to the crisis. Thank you.